Welcome back to Main Street Insights. Today we have quite the character in a positive way. Tony Mastriani joins us today from the Party Rental Place. He has this amazing business that literally rents fun. He's such a character. I am so excited to talk to him today. So without further ado, Tony, ladies and gentlemen, Tony Mastriani. We're officially recording.
All right, wonderful.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Main Street Insights. I am here with Tony from the Party Rental Place. Now, the Party Rental Place, there's a couple of things I want to talk about with you, Tony, and because I saw something that I really, really liked, and I thought it was a great idea. So we'll get into that a little bit later. But welcome to the show, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Dude, I really appreciate taking the time. What I want to talk about and really want to focus is on how you started your business, give tips on the pitfalls and stuff. And you know what? Let's just get into it. Tell me what inspired your business.
Yeah, so it's actually a pretty interesting story. My wife and I, we have three small kids. And for my daughter, her first birthday party, it's the first birthday party, so you want to make it a special event. And we decided, hey, let's have a backyard party. So we reached out to some places in the area and we said, hey, let's get some tents and tables. And I think my wife got a bounce house, all this stuff, for a 1-year-old party. If anybody's been to a 1-year-old party,
Yep.
You probably don't even use half the stuff.
Yep.
So, we ended up settling on a company which was local. And, we saw some opportunity. Actually, let me redo that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You gonna cut it?
No.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay,
straight
my
shot,
bad.
my dude.
All right.
You're
That's
good,
all right,
man.
dude.
No, if I
That's
want
all
you to feel so. Listen, man, we're having a conversation. It's me who wants to learn your story. So I love that you're as genuine as you want. I want you to feel comfortable, and we're gonna straight shot record that, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be funny. So really, it's just let's just go. Let's have that conversation.
Yeah.
So tell me what happened with that.
Yeah. So we reached out to a couple different places.
Yep.
And what we decided on was a company. And when we decided on that company, we had no idea when they were going to come. When they did come, it was the morning of the party. My wife's freaking out.
Yep.
We're trying to call them. They ended up coming. They set everything up, and we had a balance to pay. And he took down my credit card number on a piece of paper.
Oh no.
And yeah, exactly. And I'm well versed in the security solutions that are available, and that was like a big no-no to me.
Yeah.
And my wife and I, we've always kind of talked about starting a business.
Yep.
And we both had careers, leading people, and kind of doing that type of thing. So we said, it was like a light bulb almost, and we're like, this is it. This is what we want to do. We want to party with people, basically,
right?
So,
so when I was doing my research, that's exactly what I got from you. You just seem like the party kind of guy, and I was like, I'm loving this guy.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because my wife Taylor is the polar opposite. So they say opposite attract, and it's true in this case. So we're actually perfect business partners because what I lack in, she's great in, and vice versa. So it works out. But getting back to the story, the timing of it was very interesting because it was actually the end of 2019.
Okay.
And we all know what happened in the beginning of 2020.
Yes, sir.
So we did the LLC thing and did my, before that, I did a lot of market research, kind of found this guy and a group of people on YouTube, YouTube. And
University of Google, University of YouTube.
Yeah.
That's how I learned.
And there's this community of event rental owners and operators, and they share best practices, what works, what doesn't, how to start up, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. I mean, and it's a great template to start.
Yep.
But it's just that. It's a template. You have to kind of make it your own.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where it went, is like we started to, really find what was going to work and where we wanted to operate.
Yep.
And some things that were important for us, getting back to the party we booked for my daughter, communication. That was the most important thing. Like I said, we had no idea when they were coming. So that was one of our pillars of what we wanted to bring to the party rental place. So it's pretty awesome.
I love that inspired you, because you are 100% on, and that applies to kind of any business. The more communication, the better. It's like she didn't know if they were coming or not that day.
Yeah, we had no idea.
So
worked out.
Tell me, like, all right, so in the early days, you're past, you're getting this, you're getting all your stuff. What were the biggest challenges you faced in the beginning?
Yeah, I would say, like, the big elephant in the room is COVID-19.
Yep.
That was a challenge for us because, we literally were just starting up as the pandemic started up. So, one thing that we really wanted to do that was important for us was to kind of, because this was our first business that we're starting.
Yep.
We didn't want to go and take on a lot of debt right away. We didn't want to go and, take out thousands of dollars to buy inventory. So we did it slow to grow, basically. And
I love that.
And that's
slow
what we did.
To grow.
So that's what we did. We bought things as we needed them. I think we started with like 100 chairs because, I thought that was a good number to get. And I want to say like 10 tables, and a couple tents. And honestly, the first iteration or generation of tents that we got were terrible compared to what we use now. So it was like, that was one of the things, like, we had to
there's a challenge,
learn by doing. Yeah, exactly.
So a lot of people, this is the thing that everybody thinks about before they make that next move is how the heck do I finance this? So how did you fund your initial operations? Like, did you get financial support from somebody else?
No. So we, basically we had a savings, that we saved up, a personal savings, and we used that. And as I said, the initial investment, if I were to put a number on it, I would say it was under $5,000.
Yep.
The initial investment. And we felt comfortable with that number because it was something that, we felt we were definitely going to see a return on, and we did. But again, taking a look at what happened, I think our first rental, now we do tents, tables, chairs. We just added a soft play, a toddler soft play. And we, the first rental we did was an outdoor projector. It was like a 20, 30 foot projector, inflatable projector with the projection kit and speakers and all that. And that was like our first rental that we did. It wasn't even a tent. It wasn't even tables and chairs. And now, it's funny when I look back at it, I'm like, yeah, we didn't even run out of tent right away. But again, getting back to the question is, we didn't want to take on that debt. So we didn't, we self-financed it, and we're really bad at paying ourselves back. So we have to do that.
Yeah, but I eventually, I always, it's always tough to pay yourselves in the beginning because you have to keep kind of reinvesting. And I feel like that's the tip you kind of have is like, listen, you got to understand that, sometimes you might have to eat ramen for dinner.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We love ramen. Actually, all my kids like ramen.
Yo, it's crazy.
But you know what?
Go ahead.
No,
you first.
Say, the thing about ramen is, like, there's different school, I don't want to get too off track, but there's different schools of thought on it. You either want the water in the broth or you don't. And my kids don't. We drain it. That's what they want. They just want the noodles.
I know. I legit drink the broth because I use a sweet. Okay, you are getting a little off track, but we're gonna talk about ramen because I love ramen.
Yeah, all right.
Dude, I totally take sweet chili sauce and put it on so my layer is ramen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so my layer is ramen noodles, whatever comes in the ramen cup, then broccoli, and then chicken that I've slow cooked because I had it in the fridge, and then sweet chili sauce, and I will legit drink that broth.
Yeah. And you know what? I think you should have that as the main course of your next party.
You go and they get the tents and the chairs from the party place.
That's it. Let's do it.
All right. So looking back, and I know you kind of touched on this a little bit, what was the one thing you wish you knew before you began your business?
Don't invest in crap, basically. Without mincing words, that's really it. Like, buy quality items. That's the big thing. Like, we had, and during I want to say it was 2021, we were doing more business than we really could handle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you got to remember, like, we're small
Yep.
in terms of organization size, but we can serve large parties and large gatherings. With that being said, I was in a position where we were getting asked for a certain amount of inventory and specifically chairs, and we didn't have enough, because I started with 100. I think I bought another 100 from from a company, another rental company.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I only had like, 200, I think, at the time. And now it's like, I went and I looked, and it was 2021, and I got hosed on chairs. I paid like triple the amount that I bought, originally. So it's like, buying the right inventory the first time, I would say, and
Yep.
buying quality stuff that's going to last.
That's awesome, bro. That's exactly what I think a lot of entrepreneurs want to hear. That they have to really kind of think about it. And sometimes it's like a nickel. My phrase, I love this, is a nickel holding up a dollar, because those things that they bought for the nickel broke, and now you had to replace them, and then you can't rent them out because it's holding up a dollar.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So now, how has your business evolved since then? Like, what?
Yeah.
Talk to me about that, because that's where I want to.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I would say, as I said, like, with that type of inventory we started with, I think I actually have them, probably for sentimental reasons. But I have those, first couple of tents that we used, but we haven't used them since we opened. I would say, like, buying quality things, you don't think about certain things that people want for a party. Like, we do a fair amount of corporate events.
Yep.
And, one of the things that we kept getting asked for was a podium, and we didn't have a podium, so, we ended up buying it. So, like, what we do is kind of keep track of what people ask for that we don't have.
Yep.
And then eventually we'll just buy it because we're getting asked for it all the time. So from an evolution standpoint, I would say, like, I'll back up for a second, because the core of when we started the business, again, was the communication.
Right.
So in speaking of that, like, we literally, I don't know any other rental company that does this, but what we do is, when we go to a site and we set up, I'll take a time-lapse video of the setup. Okay. Then I'll take pictures of everything, kind of like Amazon. And then the customer will get an email with, hey, everything's delivered. Here's the pictures. Obviously I'm talking to the customer when I'm there.
Absolutely. Right.
It gives that proof of delivery, that kind of reassurance. They can reach out to us anytime. And then we do the same thing in reverse when we go to pick it up. But even prior to that, we'll send an invite. And this is something I took from the corporate world. You did it to me for this podcast. Send a Google invite. We're a Google Workspace house as well.
Yeah.
So we'll use those tools that are there. And we're constantly finding more tools via our website or via Google Workspace that will say, okay, these are some integrations that we can apply, to that. So we'll send the customer an invite with the date, the time frame, a list of everything they have. We'll confirm it with them to make sure that they're okay with that. And then we also just started asking people, it's so simple, but how do they want to be communicated with? Because everybody's different.
Everybody's different.
Or, yeah, like, a good portion of our, bookings are, we don't even talk to the customer, because we try to make it so easy for them. We have a live chat. We'll get the notification right on our phone. Either myself or Taylor will respond as quick as possible. That's one of our core missions that we have, is, communicate as quick as possible too. And, we'll take a look at that, and we just started asking customers, hey, how do you want to be communicated? Is it phone? Is it text? Is it email? However it is. And we'll cater to that, because we want to communicate with them and meet them where they want to be met.
And you know what? A lot of that is lost on a lot of entrepreneurs, and I am actually guilty of that myself, and started to learn that that's exact. People communicate in different ways, and they want information in different ways. I have some clients that want weekly updates, and some clients it's like, don't call me, just do it. It's so it's so funny that you're exactly right on that. What does a typical day look for you now?
Yeah. So, I mean, in relation to the business, like it's almost, we put hours up on Google because I feel like if you put your 24 hours, I feel like that kind of looks a little hokey. That's just my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
A party place, like, you should have set hours. So we have set hours, but we're really 24/7 from communication standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
I would say. We're kind of reviewing the day's communications. We're looking at, any, quotes that we need to send out or follow-ups that we need to send out. We take a look, like the beginning of the week, I would say, is we'll set the delivery times for the week. So for example, for this weekend, everything's all set. Like another thing that I should mention is that unless the customer requests it, we don't like to set up the day of the party. We'll do that. We get people reaching out for surprise parties or this or that,
Yep.
it needs to
Mm-hmm.
be on a certain time frame. And we love doing that, and we'll work with people on that. But we like to also give people time to settle in, and decorate if they want to decorate.
Yeah.
And kind of not have to work, basically not go through what we went through.
Exactly.
With our daughter's party.
Like, yeah, things showing up the morning of and you're scrambling to get everything together.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, so we'll typically do, if the event's on a Saturday, we'll typically do the setup anywhere from, and again, it depends on how many events we have that week, but we'll typically set the setups and deliveries anywhere from Wednesday to Friday. And again, if the customer requests the day of, we'll do the day of. And then, we'll obviously load everything, make sure everything's cleaned and ready to go. And then, for pickups, we don't get too many Sunday events, like people having events on Sundays, but we do from time to time.
Yep.
But typically we'll pick up the day after the party. Sometimes we'll do Monday or Tuesday pickups. And again, we work with the customer on an individual basis. What's going to work best for them. So typically, go ahead.
Sorry, from a logistics standpoint, now I'm curious to know, because you're running your business and you're showing up days early. From a logistics standpoint, is this easier or worse than any other party rental place?
It works for us, is what I would say. Like, when we first started, we would pretty much go anywhere in the state.
Yep.
Now we've kind of cut that back a little bit because, a lot of times it doesn't make sense. Like if somebody wants, 20 chairs and a couple tables and they're 45 minutes to an hour away, it's just not going to make sense for us to go out there and do that. If it's local, of course, we'll do that. It makes sense. Now, with that being said, I'll take a look at, some of the things now. It's like the setups. If we have that tent and we're setting up a tent and we set it up, like I'll leave it up as long as the customer, really needs. Like, I'm not going to say like, you have to get charged per day or whatever.
Right.
We set it up on a Wednesday, your party's on a Saturday, you have it till Sunday or Monday or Tuesday, you may have it for a week. It's really up to the case by case basis, I would say.
I feel like some of these customers sort of like, they're not looking to take advantage. They just want it for that day. And I think that's what kind of helps your situation a little bit. So tell me now, what are some of the strategies? Now, this is so we can, get all these entrepreneurs thinking about you. What are some of the strategies that help you sustain and grow your business?
I would say, the biggest thing is, I would say it's like there's two big things. Number one is Google. You have to embrace Google. It's kind of, at first, it's kind of tedious, like getting everything set up, but you have to have that Google profile. And you have to also make sure that it's relevant. And when I say relevant, meaning you have up-to-date photos or videos, your listing matches what you do. It needs to have those things on there. And then also, I would say we do a really good job of asking customers for feedback.
Yeah.
Like that's something that we do always. I think you always should be asking for feedback. If you don't, you're a fool, because you're not going to improve unless you take what's there and say, hey, we could do better here. And I've received some great feedback over the year, and we've implemented changes due to that. So I think like that's really important, is the Google piece. And like I said, the feedback. And when I say feedback, obviously you telling me something, but Google reviews, like that's the big thing. we always ask for reviews in person as well as in the email recap I spoke about earlier.
Nice.
Literally all the links are in there, and we ask for that. So I would say that's very important, along with word of mouth. Like, you have to have a good reputation. We try it, like, in town. I'm a part of a local networking group. It's called the Friday Morning Breakfast Club, and a friend of mine, Gary, started it. I met Gary because
hold on.
rented a
Can I get an invite?
Yeah, man.
Awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. I had no idea.
This Friday at Saints.
Okay? Got it. I could just show up, or
I'm going to send you all the info.
Perfect. No, thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead. Because I was just like, hey, that sounds like something I want to do.
And it's awesome. And, with that being said, so I met Gary because I set a tent up at his house. And I was setting up the tent, and he was like, you're taking pictures of this? You're doing a time lapse? What are you doing? And I explained it to him. He's like, that's awesome. I have this group, like, let's do this. And, quick plug for the group, real quick, just because it's awesome. Have you heard of Played It Forward Southington?
Yes, I saw it at Paul Gregory's with my kids.
Yes.
And I told them about that, and we participated there.
That's awesome. So that came from this group. So
really? I love this. We're all just here. That's what we're here for. We're all of us, Central Connecticut, Southington. We're here to support each other. I love that.
Yep. And, for anybody watching that doesn't know what that is, hopefully there's going to be an awesome graphic up here. But we'll see. Basically what it is anybody who's food insecure can go to one of the participating restaurants, and they can actually pick a ticket off a board, and the meal's already paid for by somebody else. And, the goal is to basically play it forward. So again, that's something I would say is awesome. But to get back to the question, you got to have those relationships. It's human connection. So Google reviews, human connection, networking.
Bro, my internal geek marketing soul is just screaming, this guy knows what he means. That's exactly what it's perfect. So I'm thinking about the future now, and I'm wondering, what are the goals that you have for your business in the next 5 years? Like, where do you think you're going to head to, and what do you want to reach?
I feel like I'm on an interview. When does the job start? But I would say, like, when we take a look at it from our perspective, and when I say our perspective, myself and Taylor, we talk about, where do we want this to go? How do we scale this? Like, do we want to scale it?
Right.
Do we want to be, because one of the reasons why we have the most generic name in the world, the Party Rental Place, was because, when we looked at branding it, we're like, we want something that, like, if we did want to scale, we could scale it. And it's not, as much as I love Southington, that's why I put Southington I'm backwards in the name. But, we wanted to have something that could be in any town, so we looked at that. So, that's something we talk about, is, do we scale it that way? And we really kind of put our big boy outfit on and, do that? Or do we kind of keep it small, local, because we like that feel as well? We really, I mentioned our children before. We want them involved as well, barring any child labor laws that we're not going to speak of. But, we want to show them. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about that next. I do want to talk about that.
Yep. That's great. But, we want to show them, and that was another reason for starting the business and having it be a family business, is we want to show them that, if you put in hard work and kind of put everything for other people, in a sense, like, you get rewarded on so many levels. It's a very rewarding feeling. Like, we had, I can't tell you how many repeat people we have, come back year after year, and they reach out to us. Hey, Tony, hey, Taylor, do you guys, have a tent? And we make it work. Like, even if we're super booked, and we try to really, like, keep it limiting to a point,
Yep.
per week, because it's just a couple of us, and we want to, we'll make it work for them. So I would say, like, that's kind of where it's at.
So I'm thinking about new. So my next question typically is what are the new markets you're looking at? You already answered that, so I'm going to just jump into the soft play, because that's your new product.
Yeah.
And this just goes back, because I think it was your kids that were in the video, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was amazing. I just love it. Was such a touching video, and I love the way you handle yourself. Tell me about the soft play stuff.
Yeah. This is where I kind of wish Taylor was more camera friendly, but because it's really her idea. She said, she's big on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
That's my cutoff. I'm an elder millennial, as they say, and that's like where I don't understand it. I don't do it. So that's kind of where I stop. But she's really into it, and she's like, oh, this is like a big thing I'm seeing. We should really do this. And then we started doing some market research, and we're like, we see specifically soft play companies and people that do that, or locations that do that,
Mm-hmm.
but that's all they do. But we didn't really see any companies around us that was, what we do now, our core products of tents, tables, and chairs, and soft play.
Yep.
So we didn't see that. So we're like, this is something that we can bring to the market that's unique for us, and that we can, we're having it's funny. I just talked about it. We have a repeat customer for next week. And they're like, oh yeah, I want to get that soft play because I saw it. And, we didn't have that last year when we did their party, but now we do. So it's like an awesome thing, but it's really fun. The kids like it. It's a really safe environment for them. We did a free event at the library, and we're doing actually another one. I believe it's May 11th.
May 11th.
Yeah, it's called Baby Prom.
What time?
It's exactly. I don't know. I'm going to table that one.
Okay.
I know I have to be there pretty early. It's May 11th. It's going to be on the library's website. It's Baby Prom. It's exactly what you think it is. Babies dressed up, prom kind of like theme. And it's going to have the soft play, but it's going to also have some other activities and sensory things for the kids to play with. It's free. Just go to the library's website and register for it.
That is so cool, and it feels like a natural upsell for the party, because now the kids can because it's typically when you order tents and stuff, it's typically an adult party, and the kids don't really.
Yeah.
And this add-on sounds perfect for that.
Yeah, it is, and it's a safe environment. Like, it's gated, it's modular, so we can set it up in different ways depending on how you want it, and we also have it in different packages. So we have the package that includes the ball pit. We have the package that doesn't include the ball pit. Maybe you don't want that and you want more space for them to run around. So we basically can customize it any way you need.
So this next question is basically, how do you stay informed about trends? But I feel like those are the groups that you were mentioning earlier.
Yeah, for sure. That's one of them. I'm always looking on Google as well. I see companies pop up every now and then. Newer companies, and I check out their reviews. I check out their website. I try to reach out. That's one thing. The YouTube thing I talked about. There's also, different in my industry, there's different organizations that you can join that'll give you training and certifications and things like that. So I'm also looking into that as well. And then there's another Facebook. There's a Facebook group. Are you in it? The Dads in Business?
I am in Dads in Business.
All right, perfect. So there's a gentleman.
Shout out to Dads in Business, because that's a great group.
DIB. And there's a gentleman I made who I met there, who owns a larger tent company in another part of the state.
Mm-hmm.
And periodically I'll reach out to him and just be like, hey, what would you do in this situation or that situation? Or, where would you get this from or that from? Do you have this? Like, maybe you want to sell, that kind of stuff. So it's a good resource, and always kind of reaching out across lines. Like, if some people, I don't view other companies I'm not the only rental company in Southington,
right?
And I don't view any other company as competition, because I feel like we're all in the same industry. We're all doing the same thing. So I'd rather make a friend than an enemy,
right?
Kind of thing. So I'm always looking and kind of trying to see, what other companies are doing. So that way, we can kind of stay in line with that.
Perfect. I just want to bounce off of that bit. One of the things that I was given advice early on when I started that, I said, I reached out to somebody who knew more than me. And I kind of was like, listen, I'm really sorry to bother you with this. And he was like, no, bro, ask away. There's plenty for everybody. And the only way that we're going to be able to thrive is to support each other and be able to kind of, and it's reciprocal. We go back and forth.
Yep.
So balancing personal life and business life is one of the most, it's one of the most difficult things that any business owner can do. So tell me, how are you managing the demands of the business, the party rental place, and your family life?
I say that's an interesting one, because up until the end of last year, I had other people that would accompany me to like the events. And now having my wife there, Taylor, we get to spend more time together, but it's different because we're working, and she's invested like I am in the outcome and the communication and all that stuff. So like from that part, like we're spending more time together, which is good. Yep. I would say like too, a lot of times all the time we can communicate with people from anywhere. Like, and that's the beauty of the technology today. So, I could be, sitting down, or playing outside with the kids, and, we can just send a quick message and now I'm back playing with the kids again, so of course you want to be present in those moments. So that's again, like why we do have set hours. Yep. And we do try to, for the most part, we do try to stick to that. But as I said earlier, we're really kind of 24/7 because, we don't want to leave people hanging, because a lot of times too, and I didn't mention this earlier, but I'll mention it now. We get a lot of people reaching out like the week of the event, or like sometimes the day of, or sometimes, the day before. No, and here's
don't
the thing,
do that. He'll do it for you, but don't do that.
Here's the thing with that. Our industry, we get booked up pretty fast. So like in February, I had stuff for like August booked. Not everybody is.
That's amazing, bro. Congratulations. That's fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. And not everybody's as forward thinking, but like, if you reach out to us, we'll work with you, and we'll get it done. But like, I would say like, we just try to like be present, I would say like as much as possible, and communicate with people how they want it.
Yep. So if you were to give advice to an entrepreneur on how to manage your personal life and your business life and your family life, what kind of, what tips can you offer?
Yeah, I would say, the number one thing is kind of like set boundaries. Like I talked about before, we're getting better at it, like I said, but try to set those boundaries. And when you're, with the family, be with the family.
Yeah.
But the way I'm the type of person, I'll try to make any situation work. And that kind of applies to our business. And that's why like, it's not an accident that, Taylor's working with me doing the jobs. And, I have my son, Jack, and he's asking me, he's like, can I go with you to set this up? And I'm like, you're 4, maybe in a couple of years, but like, so we're going to do that. It's going to graduate towards that. Like eventually they'll come with us, but like, not in a, you got to work, kind of sense, but like, just, for an education, kind of like, hard work. And I mean, that was something that was instilled in me from a young age, is you got to work hard for what you want to do. And that's what I want to teach to my kids. So again, just bringing everything together, just try to set those boundaries and be present in the moment. And then the other thing real quick is the technology. Use the technology as much as possible.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's amazing where we were 10 years ago to where we are now, and how easily we can just like, hey, with the phone in our hand, visual, everything.
Yep. Hold on. I gotta send this text real quick.
Oh my gosh, this guy. Hey, listen, I have a client that transitioned from a flip phone as little as 5 years ago, doing $1 million in business, landscaping off of a flip phone and no website. I promise you. it could be
That's
done.
awesome.
That guy was amazing.
Did he roll the cash up in the flip phone and just kind of like leave it
that would be hilarious though. No, I'm sure he has bank accounts. At least he has that. This is kind of a great segue to the next question, because you had mentioned earlier that you wanted to instill some values into your children.
Yeah.
So who was your biggest influence or mentor in your journey to getting to where you are today?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, I had a bunch. I was very fortunate to have really good people around me, my whole life for the most part. It's interesting because now that, we have a 10 company, I think back, and when I was a teenager in the summers, I used to work with my neighbor, and my neighbor owned, you ever go to like the Durham Fair or like all these fairs and you have the fried dough booth?
Yeah.
They owned the fried dough booth. Like that was them. And they had this big green and red pole tent that we would go and we would set it up, and then we'd sell the pizzas, and then we'd take it down and then go home and do the same thing over and over again. And so it's like I learned that really early. I would say like the other thing too is like, my parents really good at like, showing me like, what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
I also had a grandfather who came from Italy, and he literally worked for everything he had, and kind of just showed me like, if you want something, you got to go get it and you got to work for it. So I would say that. And then, as I started getting into the workforce and working and all that stuff, I was fortunate to be surrounded by some really inspirational leaders that kind of showed me, they had that entrepreneur spirit, while also working the corporate life. And, that kind of rubbed off on me as well. So I consider myself very fortunate. And then when I met Taylor, like she also, had a great, kind of like hard work ethic, which really that's probably the one thing we have in common is we're both pretty hard workers,
Shout out to Taylor. Shout out to Mom. Yeah. Let's go, Taylor.
MOM.
So at the that's going to bring us to the conclusion of the questions. But what I always like to do is I always like to give 15 or 30 seconds, and this is completely your time. You could talk about the business, your family, or anything you would like.
Yeah. I would say, number one, I would like to say thanks, to you, Glenn, for having this. I think it's a great forum for us to connect. And then, taking a look at everything we talked about a lot today.
We did.
So which is good. But you can reach out to us anytime. Our website, thepartyrentalplace.com. We have a live chat, like I said, and we will try to communicate with you as quickly as possible, or not as quickly if you don't want to be communicated with that quick. It depends on how you want that to go. And then we have that event that I talked about at the library, baby prom. Please come out, bring your kids. It'll be great. We'll have the soft play there. And then anybody in business that wants to connect, I'm always out to connect. I think it's awesome, and we should really be supporting each other on a local level. And the chamber is awesome. I joined the chamber in Southington the end of last year, and we became the sponsor for the Wing Fest that they have at the Cadillac Ranch. So we provide the tables and chairs there. Work very closely with Barbara, who runs it. She's a great pro Southington business. So if you're not a member of the chamber, join the chamber.
Awesome. Tony, thank you, bro. That was such a great story. There's so much I've learned from you today. And I want to say, I appreciate the insights that you brought today.
Yeah, this was awesome. And you're going to cut it, right?
Yeah.
Is that what we said? Yeah.
No. That first blooper stays in. That first nervous blooper's totally staying in. Bro, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Tony is an amazing person. That was such a fun interview. I loved the fact that it was a little foible in the beginning. And I love the fact that he didn't realize that we were doing a one shot. I think I told him. I don't know. Anyway, Tony, thank you so much. Like, subscribe, push the algorithm. We want to support our local businesses. And again, thank you so much for watching Main Street Insights. We're going to see you next week.